Have you ever fallen victim to the phrase, speak of the devil? Well, what it actually means, it is simply a language idiom. Speak of the devil is essentially an older term, and it was originally speak of the devil and he doth appear, which means if you're speaking of the devil, he will appear almost as a punishment. So this is essentially what the phrase means. Speak of the devil and he will appear, and used in commonly today. It's a phrase when you're speaking of someone and then they enter the room. Do I agree with this phrase? I would say yes and no. It is, I would say it's kind of funny when you do it to your friends, but it's also a bit condescending. This phrase has been said to me a couple of times. Um, Something you just kind of have to laugh off. But essentially, people are calling you the devil, talking about you behind their back. So it is a bit disrespectful, I would say. During the Middle Ages, actually, it was a violation to even speak of the devil. So again, that's a little bit of the history behind this phrase. Really, the devil was just off limits when it came to speaking. Just about anything, and it was just seen as a sin, essentially. But nowadays, not as much. It's not taken as serious, which is sort of why I would say it is a bit of a more fun type of expression. I think something about this phrase that's interesting, that I kind of agree with, is that speaking of the devil being more used back then, it was seen as something way more disrespectful. Again, speaking to the condescending point, obviously now not as disrespectful, but calling someone the devil would definitely be a big disrespect towards their figure, I would say, back then. But to conclude, I would say this phrase is just more of like a joke nowadays. I would say just in general, not really used as often, usually used in the workplace, etc. But I wouldn't say that it's as serious as it was back then. And I do sort of agree with how it's used today, as well as how interesting the history was behind the phrase as well. Thank you for listening.